I was watching my feet die, starting to turn black. So I actually got discharged from that hospital and relearnt to walk on the feet that I had.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How's that? Hard, I imagine.
They were actually frozen, so I had no ankle movement either.
That's not easy to walk. Yeah, I've been trying for 32 years. Still haven't nailed it. Yeah.
I've struggled more with shaving my head than getting my legs amputated because I think it's my face. It's what I see most. I was a bit nervous, and there's always that kind of second guessing in the back of your head. Am I making the right decision to have this amputation done?
So you had no buyer's regret since you woke up? All right, and normally we get a bowl of uncomfortable from Angus, but Amber, Jade's sister, do you have a bowl of uncomfortable for your sister?
Jade, how do you feel if I...
G'day everybody, welcome to Listenable. My name is Dylan Olker and I'm joined by my co-host Angus. Angus, mate, where are you? Got some bad news. We have no Angus O'Loughlin today, but it is for some good news that we maybe can't tell you about just yet. But he might be having a baby. He's not having the baby. That's wrong. His beautiful partner Am's having the baby. He's there. Chat. So I'm going to let this person introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade. I'm 24 years old. I recently had bilateral baloney amputations due to septic shock, and I'm here going to have a chat with Dylan today.
You definitely are. What else do you do, Jade, apart from losing your legs?
I work full time. I'm a corporate girl.
Yeah.
9 to 5, and then other than that, hobbies, camping, out in the bush, all that type of stuff.
Have you gone camping since you lost your legs?
I actually haven't.
Oh, are you excited for that?
Excited, nervous.
Nervous? Hey, camping's hard. I'm going to level with you.
Yeah.
I love going to music festivals, but it is a pain in the A when you can't, like bathrooms and getting around. However, things that are really hard are also very rewarding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you got like plans to do it?
Not quite just yet. I think my partner, he's also a bit nervous to take me out. He will feel a bit of responsibility, doesn't want to hurt me or let me get hurt, those types of things. But I know that I can do it at the same time. If there's a challenge, I'll do it.
I can just start by camping like next to a road with a toilet and a hotel, because if it sucks, you can just go there.
Yeah, true.
And then eventually go out into the bush.
Yeah.
Because the bush might be a bit gnarly to start.
Yeah. Because I think of it, I'm just instantly thinking of those solutions, like what you can do. Like I can get around on my knees.
Yeah, true. So you're double amputee, above or below knee?
Below knee.
Do you walk around on prosthetics yet, or are you wheelchair?
No. So I had my surgery just on the 14th of September.
Oh, you're a freshie.
Freshie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club. Is there plans to walk?
There are. It's just a time thing. So you have to
Explain
wait.
to people listening what that means. Yeah. When can you start?
So it really depends. It's really individualized. So essentially you have to wait for the scars to heal completely, have no open wounds. And then you eventually will start wearing what they call a shrinker sock. So what it does is it makes your stumps a bit skinnier so that the prostheses can fit on it a lot better.
Guess what? I didn't know that.
There you go.
And I, have a lot of mates who are amputees. And that's so true because I can't say this word. I want cylindric. Look, I want it to be like a bit of a cylinder, correct?
Yeah.
What's that, producer Meals? Cylindric? Is that a thing? I didn't even know that was a word. Okay, I'm making it up. So yeah, is that right? So I can get in?
Yeah. And then also just so like when you do have the prostheses on, it's not super big. So it's like you can still wear your normal pants and all those types of things. But before you get to your permanent prostheses, they put you in interim ones and all that. For me at the moment, I'm really just waiting for that medical clearance that my wounds are completely healed and I can do that. But I left hospital a bit earlier than most people. So
Nice flex.
thanks.
I like that. Do you want to walk?
I do want to walk. I'm pretty confident using my chair to get around. But you can't help yourself from thinking those things of like when you get told that you're going to have your legs amputated, people instantly go, it's okay. Prosthetics are amazing these days. You'll get up and walk around again and do all the things that you love.
I flipping hate hearing that.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Not for me personally, for people with wheelchairs, that even medical people saying wheelchairs are bad.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're not going to be that bad. That's a bad thing.
It's definitely got that attitude in the kind of like amputee space. Don't worry, prosthetics are amazing.
Thanks for sharing that, because it's true. And, it's like, what about someone who gets amputated who won't be able to walk? It's like then saying that they're worse off than you.
The thing is as well, being a bilateral amputee, so bilateral means both sides, there will be times where I might get injured and I'll be back in the chair. You can't always be in your prostheses 100% of the time. And very much the attitude has been, you talk to someone as soon as they know I'm out of hospital, oh, when are you getting your prosthetics? Those are the questions. But I also need to be confident wheelchair user as well.
Because you'll chop and change depending on what you're doing.
And prosthetics don't work for everyone either.
Yeah, mine won't work. You're right. You talked about that, what you were told when you lost your legs. Can you talk us through what happened?
Yeah, so we'll rewind back to May this year. I went home early from work on a Wednesday with a migraine, then kind of developed gastro symptoms. So I thought I had gastro. By the Friday night or the Friday of the same week, I started vomiting and fainting. Again, still, I thought I was fainting because of the gastro-like symptoms. Then I told my partner I think I should go to hospital because I can't keep down any fluids. So at the time my parents had COVID, so they were isolating, so they couldn't take me, and I live with my partner. So he took me to the local emergency room. Triage nurse took my blood pressure and it was 60/40, which is really low.
Mm-hmm. What's normal?
Normal is 120/80.
Oh, wow, it's a half.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. And whenever I tell like a nurse or something like that was my blood pressure, they were like, how are you even standing?
Yeah, that's like you're almost dying vibes.
Yeah, very much. So they took me in immediately, and it's kind of serious when the triage nurse then gets a wheelchair and sits you in the wheelchair, and then you get through straight away. So you're like, okay, something's happening.
That's why I go to hospital in a wheelchair, just so I can cut the line. Even nothing's really wrong.
Oh, I've definitely thought of that since.
Yeah.
And then when I was in emergency, they couldn't stabilize me or anything. So I went into resus. And the last thing I kind of remember from that day was lying in the resus bed and looking up at the sign that says resus and just reading it and trying to figure out what resus meant. So it means resuscitation. You only go there if you're really unstable, like medically unstable. But my mind was starting to get really confused and I didn't understand what resus meant. Then it's a bit of a blur. The next couple of days, they still couldn't stabilize me, couldn't figure out what was wrong either. The fluid they were giving me to increase my blood pressure, so fluid increases your blood volume, which increases your blood pressure. Instead of going into my circulatory system and going into my blood, it was just retaining around my whole body. So I blew up like a balloon, like I looked like a Michelin man.
That would have been scary. How are you feeling? Were you awake at this point?
I was awake. I didn't really know what was going on, to be honest. I was pretty confused. I had moments where I'd be more confused and then moments where I knew what was happening. And
are you in pain at this point?
I said that I had some back pain.
Okay.
What we know now is my kidneys were already in failure. So I had to get put on dialysis, where they take the blood out of your body, put through a machine, and they put the fluid in.
To keep them alive, yeah.
Yeah, and then they put it back in.
People with kidney failure, especially old people, will have to live on dialysis.
Yeah. So they put me on that pretty quickly because the fluid was retaining. And then, I don't really remember much at all until I got put into a coma, and then I got woken up about 9 days later in the same hospital room, but I thought I had been kidnapped. And my last memory from before I went to sleep was that my partner and my sister had taken me out of the hospital and to a basement of some sort, and I thought that I was going to be killed.
Jeez.
I saw people around me and they were getting waterboarded, and I thought, I kept trying to say to my sister and my partner, get me out of here. I need to go. really the doctors were putting me into a coma, and that was all a hallucination. When I woke up, I was really confused as to what hospital I was in, where I was.
What's that moment like when you wake up and you start to realise what happened? Did you straight away think, I can't feel my toes, and realising your legs have been amputated? What was that period of understanding like?
You're still on a lot of medication. So it started off, I could hear things in the room. So I could hear the doctors talking and that type of stuff. Then they take the ventilator out of your throat.
Yeah.
And you don't have any pain from that. It just kind of feels a bit uncomfortable. And then gradually you have the ability to open your eyes. So it's kind of like when you've had a really big night out and then you like slowly wake up and you're stirring a bit.
I wouldn't know. I've never had a big night. So. Before we get into the gnarly part, which is realising your leg's been amputated, do you wake up and feeling, I've had an awesome sleep, like a 9-day sleep? Or are you just so all over the shop you're not really sure? I've always wondered that with the coma.
It's
you don't feel well rested, do you?
No, it's like when you have surgery. So it's like when you go under for surgery or something like that.
Come out of anaesthetic and you're a bit, ooh, okay.
And at that point, I didn't have the amputations. So it was about early June that I got taken out of the coma. And I woke up, and because I was on a lot of medication, I couldn't really feel much of my body anyway. I was also extremely weak. So I had a really itchy face from all the tape, from the tubes and stuff in my face. And I went to itch my face, and my arm got about halfway and it started quivering, like shaking when
Tough.
it was too heavy to
Scary.
lift.
Yeah.
So for me, not having any sensation in my feet, I didn't really notice, to be honest, because my whole body was just so weak.
So you woke up from the coma and you still had legs.
Yeah.
You still got legs now, the bottom half of your legs.
Yeah.
Well, when was it decided that you're going to have to get amputated, and were you in a state to acknowledge it and decide yourself?
It took a while. So the medication that I was given to increase my blood pressure caused my blood vessels to restrict. So while I was in the coma, I had a lot of blue on the extremities of my body. So my nose was blue. My fingertips were blue. The discoloration in my legs was all the way up to my knees. But then as they started lessening the medication, it went away.
Funny, I'm sure you know this, but people listening probably don't. So when you have meningococcal meningitis sepsis, the first thing that go are your toes, your fingers, and your nose. So I play tennis against people who have no legs, missing fingers, and their nose is damaged.
Yeah.
And it's like consistent across everything. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that obviously being an athlete, but I don't think many people would know that. You think it'd be in one leg or whatever. It's weird how is it. Do you know why it's the extremities of your body and then it goes in?
Yeah, so it compresses your blood vessels in the things furthest away from your major organs.
That's a way smarter way in saying that than what I say. Yeah.
So it wants to keep the blood, your
close
kidneys,
into your organs where it needs it. It's quite smart.
Yeah.
God, your body's smart.
Oh, it's
Scary,
incredible.
but smart, obviously. So then you realised that it was all the way up to your legs?
Yeah, so that was when I was still in a coma, and then it started going down and it stopped just above my ankles. So the doctors were kind of hoping that the blood vessels there would be some residual blood flow and it would kind of eventually go away. So at that point, they didn't know that there was going to be amputations. I think they suspected that it would be at least a few toes, but it was definitely something that was discussed or at least mentioned here and there. But the ICU that I was in, they had no podiatry specialist or vascular specialist. So I actually got transferred to a different hospital. And the vascular team there, ran a few tests, some ultrasounds to see if there was blood flow. They said there was residual blood flow, but no main blood flow. So again, they were still just like, we don't know what's going to happen. You might lose your legs, you might not. Wait and see.
Cheers.
So I actually got discharged from that hospital and relearnt to walk on the feet that I had.
Whoa, did you?
Yeah.
How's that? Hard, I imagine. Were they all floppy?
They weren't. They were actually frozen. So I had no ankle movement either. So they were kind of frozen in a standing position, so standing up.
That's not easy to walk. I can't walk, obviously. Not an expert, but I imagine that's hard.
It's hard to relearn to walk.
Yeah. I've been trying for 32 years. Still haven't nailed it. Yeah.
So yeah, had no control of my ankles, had no feeling in my feet or my toes. And then also I was extremely weak. So like I said, I could barely lift my arm. I had to relearn to sit and then eventually stand and then start taking steps. So it took me about a month to relearn to walk, and I got discharged from rehab, and I went home walking and was waiting just for a vascular follow-up to wait and see what they thought about the condition of my feet. While I was at rehab, I actually saw my feet gradually deteriorating. So the attitude when I was at hospital was very much like, we're hopeful that your blood flow will increase. We're hopeful, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of had that attitude too. Then while I was in rehab, I saw the blackness in my toes start creeping down my feet. And I kind of knew what that meant. And that's when I had to start coming around to this idea that I might have to have my legs amputated below the knee.
To protect the infection, obviously, in the blood.
Well, there wasn't any infection anymore.
It just wasn't working.
It just was no blood flow at all.
So did you make that call yourself to...
Not particularly. So I was in the public health system, and it can take a while to get appointments with specialists. So it kept getting delayed, my appointments for follow-up. So I made appointments to see some vascular consultants privately.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had really I knew the answer was going to be amputation, because once the blood flow shuts down, they can't
reboot it.
No. So I got told to stop walking and to use my chair full time once I had been discharged. And that was pretty hard because I had just spent a month in rehab relearning to walk.
And then it was wasted. Yeah, it's hard.
And then, they tell you get told stop walking. You're not meant to stand to transfer. But I hadn't practiced all of that stuff. I'd done bits and pieces, but the main focus of rehab was walk.
Yeah. So when was the call made?
The call was made around early August.
We're talking this year, right?
Yep, this year.
What the hell? That's like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you're talking about it so vulnerably, but like incredibly well. So well done.
Thank you.
People take 10 years to get to this stage. So
yeah,
we just met, but proud of you. It's very good.
Thank you. But yeah, so on that day, I saw 2 vascular surgeons privately, and then I also saw the public team. All 3 consensus amputation. They're not going to be able to reestablish blood flow. And I was happy with that decision.
Get busy living your life again.
Pretty much. So when I was in rehab, I went into rehab really like I want to protect as much of my own body as I can and like try and keep my feet. Maybe reconstruction is the way that we're going to go. Then my sister did a bit of research and she heard a lot of stories of people who had similar situations to me. And she linked me up with a lady named Corinne. And Corinne's a quad amputee from sepsis and similar situation to me. And I actually met up with her.
Quad amputee meaning all 4 limbs?
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. Just in case people didn't know, keep going.
Oh, there's so much lingo that you have to like.
I mean, you've already said some lingo that I knew that. I probably should have explained to people listening. But yes, keep going.
And when I was chatting, well, first of all, I saw her and she did use lower limb prosthetics to walk, but at that time she had an injury, so she was back in her chair. And what I saw was I met someone who was disabled but lived a completely normal life.
Yeah, cool.
And so for me, that was a massive moment because I was like, yeah, she's disabled, but she also is so able. She is able to do life. She's able to do amazing things. She's actually from New Zealand and she was traveling around Australia doing talks and whatnot. And
that's awesome.
It was very much like, oh, okay, I can get on with my life even if I need amputation.
It shows the importance of role modelling, but also like genuine inclusion so you have representation, because if you didn't meet that person, you might have not be here doing what you're doing right now, let alone deciding that you would have went ahead with it.
The other thing that she spoke about with her arm, and this is something that a lot of people encounter, is that with necrosis, so when the body starts to die, so I was watching my feet die, starting to turn black. She had a similar thing with her hand on, and so she
It's so gnarly to think. How were you feeling when that was happening? When you could just see it creeping up?
There was a really definitive line where like the discoloration started on my legs. So I had my normal skin color, and then there was kind of like a scabby black band, and then it was like discoloration of all sorts of like mottled colors, so like purple and black and whatnot on the rest of my foot.
Was it scary to see it going up, or was it like just a general realization?
It was scary, and I did have one big moment in rehab where I was like, I had actually been taking photos to track what it looked like, and also to make sure that there weren't any signs of infection. And I was looking back at them and like, there's more black. There's more black skin than there was a couple of weeks ago.
They're definitely not as bad as this, but it's like yours is way worse. I'm not comparing it, but it's like a flood.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when you see the water rising and you're like, I'm fine, I'm not fine. Oh my God. Before it's too late. Not everyone has the same, you know, we live in a pretty good part of the world, even though sometimes the doctors might have let you down. But you live in another country and you're saying that, and you're like, because if it keeps going, it just takes over your whole body. Yeah.
So something Corinne spoke about, and then I also read about online, and I spoke to one of my doctors about, is that sometimes people go into these situations with the attitude of reconstruction because they want to keep as much as possible. And it can be years and years of skin grafts and surgeries. And I think Mike Rolls spoke about this when he was
Rollsy, friend of the podcast. Almost said fan of the podcast. Hopefully he's a fan. He's definitely a friend.
Yeah. So he talks about how he was kept trying to save one of his legs. And yeah, it's constant medical stuff. And I'd already been in hospital for like, at this point, 2 months. And I was so sick of it. I was like, I just want to be at home.
Yeah, I fell out of my chair last week. I had to get an MRI yesterday. I had to go to hospital. I was like, oh. I was there for like an hour. And I was like, this sucks. Because I used to like live in the hospital.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid. What was it like going to sleep, knowing you're going to wake up without legs? What was that day like leading into it?
I was a bit nervous, and there's always that kind of second guessing in the back of your head. Am I making the right decision to have this amputation done? But I had the constant reminder of looking at my feet and I'm a white person and I had 2 black feet and they were fully black. There was
and they weren't tattooed.
No, they were rock hard, so you could tap on them, you could knock on them. There's no muscle, no fluid in there. So I just looked down and I would tell myself, like, I don't want these.
You can get some whiz-bang $100,000 carbon ones. Shout out to the NDIS.
Exactly. Come on, process my application, please.
Oh my God, yeah, you probably haven't got it yet because you just got disabled.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're a shoo-in, no.
So I left rehab walking. Then I couldn't apply for NDIS because it wasn't a permanent disability at that stage.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I saw it as freeing. They weren't any use to me anymore. Why would I want to keep them?
Yep. Good call. So you had no buyer's regret since you woke up?
Definitely not.
No, good call. What about your family and your partner? How have they reacted to your illness into disability?
Yeah, it's at times I think it's been harder on them because
Why is that?
When I was in the coma, I was just snoozing away.
Dreaming. Yeah. Nightmares, actually, not dreaming. Yeah.
But they were the ones getting the bad news, you know, getting told, oh, she might be on dialysis for the rest of her life. She might lose her legs, all of these things. And my partner, he had to make those calls as well. So my partner became...
Oh, if you didn't wake up?
All of it. So he became my medical power of attorney, I think they call it.
Yeah, how'd he go?
He just took up the challenge. He's a really positive guy.
What's his name?
Lachlan.
Shout out to Lachlan. Good on you, mate.
He was just, whatever the doctors think, just do it. Do what you can to keep her alive. Mm-hmm. And they did. And I think I've been told when they all got brought into the room and told, oh, okay, we need to give her really high doses of this medication. She might lose her legs. Everyone got a bit teary and he just goes, yep, they're doing amazing things with prosthetics. she'll walk again. It doesn't like.
What about your family?
My sister struggles a bit, and her way of dealing with it was doing things like listening to podcasts, finding other people's stories that were similar to mine, and seeing how they're living their life.
Is this your sister?
Yeah, my sister's here in the studio.
Well, hello. What's your name? Amber. Come here, Amber. Everyone, this is Amber coming over. Sorry to embarrass you. This wasn't planned. You speak in my microphone. How did you feel throughout the process, and how are you now?
Can I swear?
You can swear.
It was fucking horrible.
What do you mean?
Jade and I are pretty close. Jade and I.
That was weird.
This is very.
Yeah, very intimate now.
Yeah. Sorry. I know you have a girlfriend. Sorry. No, it was pretty terrifying. So Jade and I are pretty close. We grew up pretty close. Pretty tough childhood sometimes. So we've become pretty connected. And to get that news, I had finished a job actually, and I'm supposed to start a new job on the Monday. And she went in on the hospital on the Friday, and it was tough because I'd seen her on that Thursday and saw how sick she was. So you can't help but think like, oh, if I got her in the day before, she would have been fine. But no.
Absolutely not.
No.
I went in at the right time. So I thought I had gastro, symptoms of like vomiting, diarrhea, fever, those things. And if I went in the day before, they might have just sent me home.
What was it like when you got told, best case, she'll have no legs, worst case, she might not be here anymore?
It was pretty horrible. So, because like Jade said, our parents had COVID. So Locke and I were there when she was put in the coma as well. And like she said, she was hallucinating. So she was trying to get out, and we were holding her down, being like, oh, it's a couple of days, you'll be right. And then when I got that news about her legs, like Jade said, Locke's really positive. He's like, it's fine. Like, it's only a maybe. We don't know. I immediately went into like, I just research everything I can. But I've done a lot of work with people with disabilities anyway. Like in my previous job, I actually worked with Get Skilled Access. Shout out to them. Shout out to Bianca Bassett.
Oh, yeah, that's our consulting firm. Love it.
Yeah, so I have known a bit about all of this anyway. So coming into it, it was okay. That doesn't mean I didn't have a meltdown. I got manic, got a tattoo that matches Jade's because I was like, she's going to die. So, but yeah, we've got matching angel tattoos.
So
love that.
Just to say, I got my tattoo first. And it's to symbolize Amber and I, because like she said, we're real close. And then, she actually, while I was in the coma, contacted my tattoo artist and asked if she still had the design.
Yeah, I can see the whole time you talk to each other, you look each other in the eyes. It's really nice. I mean that. You have a really beautiful connection. All right. Thank you very much. Great job. Great cameo. I think that's the first time I've done something like that. What does it mean to hear how much she, one, cares and loves you, but also obviously supported you through this? It's
really hard because then I carry a bit of guilt. I feel bad.
Do you feel that guilt and burden?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, talk to us about that.
So it's really hard to see that something that's happened to me because when I told my auntie, her eyes started swelling up with tears and all of that. And when I tell people that I was getting the amputation, I would have to comfort them because they would get so upset. My reaction would just be like, do you want to see photos of my feet? And then if they said yes, they'd see photos, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I see why you're doing this.
Yeah, that it subsides, but there's periods where I still feel that as well. So I don't feel bad about feeling like that. Like I'd go to a house party or a nightclub or whatever, and my mate's having a party and I wouldn't be able to get in because of stairs, and the whole party would want to move. And I'm like, that makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
Like I feel guilty for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want to do that on our holiday. It's like, no, I know you want to do that on your holiday. But and then they don't go because of me. That's bad. It makes you feel bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's okay. So I still get it too.
And then even with my partner, the change in our dynamic and my sister and my mum, they've now become somewhat primary carers for me.
Yep.
And they do so much more for me than what they did previously because I was quite independent. My partner has to do more of the housework. He has to be there.
How good's that?
Yeah, I don't tell him things that I can do.
But you love it. But he's going to listen to this. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So what about your own body image of yourself?
Yeah, so I struggled more with having to shave my head. So with the septic shock, getting so sick, the stress on my body made me lose all my hair. So I've struggled more with shaving my head than getting my legs amputated.
Can we get I think your hair looks good. Do you agree? I thought this was just a normal haircut. It suits you. It's quite short for people that can't, obviously audio movement, or also people with blind low vision. So it's like, what is it, like a 7 or something at the moment? Looks good. You going to keep it or are you going to grow it?
Oh, before I got sick, I was trying to grow it longer.
Okay.
So I personally don't like it. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I see that before, I care about being in a wheelchair or having my legs amputated. Because I think it's my face. It's what I see most. So yeah, I've really struggled with that. And that's
incredible that you struggle more with having to shave your head than losing your legs, considering your hair will grow back,
I know. And everyone that I've said that to
I don't think
is
your
like,
legs will grow back. Last time I checked.
no, they won't.
Yeah.
But everyone I've said that to is like, you're crazy.
No, but it's just interesting. It's just interesting how people think. And someone in a different situation would be the opposite,
Yeah.
It's everyone has.
I think because getting my legs amputated was like medically necessary.
Okay.
And then for some reason, it's just your hair, if it's part of your identity.
Why did you have to shave your head then?
Well, my hair was falling out.
It was falling out because of the...
Okay. So it pretty much started falling out as soon as I was taken out of the coma. But then when I was home, it got to a point where like every time I would shower and wash my hair, my hair would basically half because it would just come out with the wash because my body went into such shock and medical stress and like physical stress that it just started falling out in clumps, and it was shocking, and I had to shave it.
You're very well spoken, I must say, because this happened 2 months ago. We have people come on our podcast who've had disability their whole life and can't spit out how they're feeling, It's very impressive. And the vulnerability you both showed, I must say, is incredible. What do you want to do with your life now? Or are you just still going through the phase of getting prosthetics and rebooting?
I think at the moment I'm still going through the motions. I mean, everyone's just straight to like, oh, what sport are you going to do? You're going to go to the Paralympics, that type of thing. At the moment, I just want to like go camping.
Yeah, go camping, go to the pub, do normal things.
Walk up the stairs rather than crawling, those types of things. I love my job. My employer has been amazing this whole time.
What do you do?
So I'm what's called an accreditation officer. So I work for the Victorian Institute of Teaching.
Oh, cool.
They're the teaching regulator in Victoria.
Nice.
But they've been incredible. Leave, all of that, supporting me working from home. So, I mean, I'd love to get back into the office. Like, I'm just looking at these immediate goals.
Maybe some of the teachers will teach a bit more disability after meeting their accreditation officer. That'd be nice. That could be a double-edged sword.
But yeah, maybe it's something like that. Disability inclusion in education. My passion is like education. I don't want to personally be a teacher, but I do want our education to be incredible in Australia, in Victoria, because I think how we teach kids and how they learn will change the future. So maybe that does come back to now me being disabled.
I like it. I know a consulting firm called Gets Good Access will give you a job in about 3 seconds if you're looking. Jeez, and amazing. Now, bottle of uncomfortable time. Mm-hmm. We get them sent in. Do you listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what we've done. So people get sent in their uncomfortable questions. This one's from Anita on Facebook. Were there or are there days where you wish Lachlan would move on without you because you feel that burden?
Yeah, definitely. So becoming disabled definitely changed the dynamic in the relationship. There's times when he's my carer and then there's times where he's my partner. I think he's taken on the responsibility amazingly, but you can't, like we spoke about, that guilt. It's always in the back of your mind. What could he be doing if he had someone that was fully able-bodied as his partner? The thing is, though, we love each other, so we're here through thick and thin. And what I do to remind myself is that I would stick by his side if roles were reversed. So it's hard. and we're still navigating it. It's still new. But yeah.
Do you know what he'd be doing? Nothing better is what he'd be doing. All right, and normally we get a bowl of uncomfortable from Angus, but Amber, your sister, Amber, yeah?
Yes.
Amber, Jade's sister, do you have a bowl of uncomfortable for your sister? It's not going to remain anonymous because you're here, right?
I know this is embarrassing, so anyone knows me or my employer, don't fire me. Jade, how do you feel if I use your disabled parking spot or if other people use your parking spot?
Well, if I'm with you, that's totally fine. If you're by yourself, please don't.
Do you know how I feel about that? You can absolutely get effed, all right? Get out of our car parks.
Okay, I was trying to be nice
I'll
about
someone
it.
for you, all right? They're ours. But if we're all together, then you can park there. Deal?
My favourite thing is seeing people, like, obviously there's invisible disabilities and I'm very aware of that, but
And I do this. If I see someone who hasn't got like a physical disability, you can tell. I just ask, "G'day, have you got a permit?" And if they do, you just go, "No worries."
yeah.
Right? I'm not being a wanker. I'm just genuinely checking. You know what I mean? And they're like, "Yeah, mate, I got." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, bro." Like, or whatever, enjoy it. You know. So I think you have every right to ask. But they get a bit shitty sometimes. Just checking, mate. Just because I'm in a wheelchair, but have a good day. You know.
It's sometimes nice having such a visible disability too.
It'd be way harder for people with invisible disabilities in that situation. Way
Definitely.
harder. Because imagine how much they get abused, even by able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Just going, like I pull up and I'm young and, you know, I drive a Kia. Thank you, Kia.
Oh, we love Kias.
We love Kia. And I've got a nice car and that. And people just straight away go, mate, what are you doing? Right? Maybe a little bit less these days because they go, it's still not good. But and I'd be like, oh, is my wheelchair not enough for you? You know? And they're like, oh, but they get narky, don't they? Especially able-bodied people trying to be like disability
Policing
defenders,
it.
which we don't mind. But you can just be nice and ask straight up. Let's get you a permit. Oh, yeah, enjoy yourself. You're a bloody legend. Hey, I'm just in awe of how well you speak about something that happened, a fairly large trauma, to understate it, like 2 months ago. It's really incredible. So you can help a lot of people who, not just who have septicemia, but are new to disability, you know, but to anyone listening, not everyone needs to feel the same way that you and I do about disability, you know what I mean? But we're just two examples of this experience, and I personally think this story will help a lot of people. So Jade Harrington, who's 24 and he's going to come work for me, I've decided about 2 minutes ago. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.